My aunt freaked out at me for wearing no makeup for her, and we thought she turned crazy because of me, but it actually turns out she has dementia. This weekend the family met up for Memorial Day. Just a casual family hangout for the holiday, nothing formal or any big event to celebrate. Even though I used to when I was younger, I pretty much never wear makeup anymore except on formal special occasions because it damaged my skin when I wore it every day. My aunt semi-recently moved back to the States after spending over 6 years living in various places in Europe, and this is the third time we've had a family gathering with her since she got back. The previous 2 times the family got together it was a more formal occasion and I wore makeup and a dress both times. This time I wore my normal clothes, shorts, a button-down, sandals and no makeup. The rest of my family was more or less as casual as I was, but all the women wear makeup on a daily basis except for me. I noticed my aunt was acting really strangely around me when I asked her if everything was okay. She turned it around on me and asked if I was sick. I said I was fine, but slightly confused. She then said, "So why do you look like that?" I didn't know what she meant at first, but she kept pressing until I realized she meant I wasn't wearing makeup. I was kind of annoyed at her being so bothered by this, but I tried to stay calm and explained that I only wear makeup on special occasions. I really should not have said this because this apparently ruined her whole weekend. She started freaking out about how I don't consider seeing her to be a special occasion and ended up leaving the family gathering early and in tears. The next day was the Memorial Day parade and it was my nephew's first time marching in the marching band, so a special occasion but still casual. My aunt, however, still angry for my special occasion comment, showed up in stained pajamas with her hair unbrushed. When my mom asked her to explain herself, she just said, "Well, she doesn't think it's a special occasion, so why should I bother?" She attended the parade like that and repeated that line every time someone asked if she was okay or why she was dressed like that. The rest of my family thinks she's being unreasonable, but that it's also on me to talk her down from this grudge she's holding or else she's going to keep acting out. What do I do here, people? Update. Hi all, there have been some unexpected developments in this situation that I wanted to share. Despite that most of you suggested that I just ignore her, I felt a sense of obligation, and was under a lot of familial pressure, to try to get her one-on-one and attempt to communicate. Yesterday I brought her a fresh-baked loaf of bread as a gesture of goodwill and called and told my uncle to warn her that I was coming over to talk. He had been off visiting his own parents over Memorial Day weekend, so he'd only heard about her freakout. It did not go well. I tried to gently explain to her that when I said special occasion I meant formal occasion, and that I always think it's special to see her and the rest of the family. She completely rejected my explanation and said, "You can't tell someone they're not special and just turn around and say never mind," and said some nasty things about my appearance since I again was not wearing makeup. She finished by taking the loaf I made for her and making sure I watched as she threw it in the garbage. At this point I had to say, "I tried, I'm done, I can't help you," and left. My uncle stopped me as I was leaving the house looking really upset. I assumed he was just embarrassed over my aunt's outburst, but he asked me to take a walk with him so he could talk. We walked around the neighborhood and he apologized for how my aunt has been acting but started to cry. When he was able to talk again, he admitted that the reason they had come home from traveling in Europe is that my aunt had been diagnosed with early onset dementia. A lot of people were making jokes about that in the responses, but it turned out to be the actual explanation. She had never been on a hair trigger like that before she started showing signs. He wanted to keep it private until they weren't able to keep it private anymore, and he was having a hard time accepting that that time had already arrived. We cried together for a while and he agreed that he needs to start the process of telling the family about her condition and looking into getting her some extra help. I talked to my mom about it afterwards and she's really upset. She was scared that something like this might be the case because the way she showed up to the parade looking like a mess was so out of character, and that's why she wanted me to try to resolve it. She assumed that such a reaction meant I must have done something for it to at least partially be my fault. A lot of people had assumed she was just a lifelong narcissist who always acted out to get her way, but this is new behavior for her. Ultimately, I'm glad that I tried to make amends if it led to the truth. I quickly went from resenting my aunt to feeling extremely bad for her. Dementia runs in my family, but it usually takes till the late 80s or early 90s to set in. To deal with a disease that attacks her mind and personality so young is so awful for her, for my uncle, and for their kids. So yeah. If your older loved ones suddenly start acting nasty in a way that they've never been before, maybe that's not nothing. Watch out for yourselves and your loved ones, y'all.